Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad, and hey, I've been tired now for a long time. Not that long, long enough. But hey, we're going to look at the NEOS funds, where they're at. I didn't cover them right at the beginning of the month. I thought I would wait and see how things were playing out. I can tell you they wrote the calls just like they normally do, and their percentages were just like they normally do. Very, very consistent. But let's go ahead and add this to the screen so you can actually share where these things are at instead of me just talking about them. So the NEOS calls were written right now, and this is a live sheet. It's updated about every 15 minutes, so it's going to be pretty close. But you can see the strikes for SPYI is, the first one is about 3/4 of a point out. QQQI, 0.89. IWMI, hey, we're 0.25 out of the money right now. BTCI, that first call, first one, is only 0.15 out of the money. When they originally wrote these calls, it was 7% out of the money when they did it, which is amazing. IYRI, down a little bit today, but the first call is at 3.9, and the gold fund is already through both of those strikes. But I'm going to go ahead and show you what this looks like on a graph, because I personally look at this going, that's great for numbers, but let's put it on a graph so you can see historically how this might play out or look. So the first graph that I have up is actually on SPYI. This is how it looks. The first set of green is last month. So you can see that we ended up above last month, and you can see that we're coming up to this month's calls, and the end of the green line is actually when they stop. If I move on to QQQI, we can see exactly where their calls are. You'll notice that we were above their calls the other day when they finished out, but you can see that we have not gone through their calls yet this month, which is good. You know, we're sitting right around the 9th or 8th. We're sitting at the 8th. Here we are, a good week in, and we are not through the calls. On the Russell, well, we're right up against it. Kind of exactly what the Excel spreadsheet or Google Sheet said, but you can see exactly where we are compared to the chart. And I'd rather look at the chart sometimes because I get lost when I look at the others going, oh, how close is that actually? I move on to the REITs, and I'm going to have to rescale this a little bit. So the REITs have really never finished above their strikes. It's kind of just goes sideways forever, but we're collecting that 11%. I own a little bit of REITs. I think that's a good diversity play for me. That's just how I play it. Yesterday, I did a video on SCHD and said, hey, SCHD has so much energy. Well, I have 4%. Well, I want to allocate 4% to energy. I'm just not going to allocate a lot to the energy sector, just in case. On the gold fund, if you haven't looked at gold, it is up and to the right. You think Bitcoin is going up? Well, Bitcoin is not going up compared to gold. Just throw it out. Bitcoin is going more sideways, but maybe we'll get there with Bitcoin. You can see how much the gold fund has gone up, and they're through both of their strikes already. Now, I like Curve also. They write their calls weekly, and they also create a Delta 1 by buying a call and letting it go up. So that's interesting, but at the same time, when gold goes down, you're going to see their price go down faster also. So having the NEOS fund combined with it still gets me my 12% and takes out a little volatility, especially if we go into a down market. That's more of my play. I have both. I really like the Curve one, actually. It's done really good, but that's only in an up market. Wait till a down market comes. You might want a little less beta with the gold fund. If I look at Bitcoin, we're right up against it. Remember, they write Bitcoin on an index. And that's a little bit different than actually writing against IBIT. Just want to make sure you understood that that was against the index. And if I go out to the NEO's website, and I just wanted to point this out because maybe you caught it, maybe you didn't catch it, but they put IBIT in there as with HODL. Don't know why. It is a question for Troy to come up when he comes on at the end of the month, but I noticed that they have IBIT in there as well as HODL. Probably IBIT said, hey, we'll give it to you. We'll waive the fees. And it's all about the fees. If they're getting cheaper fees, then I'm for it because it just makes them more profitable. And I'm okay with them making a little bit of profit because their fees are not that bad. 0.68 on many of their funds, and on this one, it is 0.98. So we just got to make sure that we watch those fees. I look at SPYI, it is 0.68. QQQI is 0.68. Another one that I get asked a lot of times, and I just want to go ahead and point this out to you. You can come down here and look at the taxes, right? Right off their website, you can look at the 19A1s, or you can look at the other tax information available for you. So you don't have to worry about it. So that is just my thought. And IBIT probably has better liquidity. It probably does. But you're talking about an ETF here, not a individual trying to buy and sell a whole lot of stuff. And I wonder if it gets into the concentration rule. But I am not the fund manager. I am just an individual looking at this. And one day, Troy will be on the channel. I think it's the end of this month. And we can ask the fund manager directly. So why worry about it? It still has the allocation of Bitcoin. Just thought I'd throw it out that, hey, they moved some to IBIT. But maybe it is because they have better liquidity. We'll find out from Troy at the end of the month. I'm not going to write to him. If you don't know, the CBOE actually has an index on the buy rate. You can just see that, obviously, they do better than that index. And that's a good sign. But let's continue on the ventures of the calls, because I am going to scroll down. I think that I covered them all. Did I not? I did. Oh, by the way, everybody buy Nugget, right? Just thought I'd throw that out. Who did not buy Nugget when I said to? Obviously, not everybody, because it's up 300%. You could have tripled your money. Well, that's okay. It's a little more leverage. I did not make the call on buying Nugget. But if I do go look at the gold funds, and I've been talking about gold for ever since these funds have come out. Well, total returns, you can see that KGLD is up 19%, and IAUI is up 12%. So we've actually done pretty well. And I'm just curious. I don't want to do this live. How does that compare to SPY? Just thought I'd throw it out. Yes. Yeah, we don't like that. Yes, if we look at SPY, we are beating SPY. And I just thought I'd throw that out because I thought that was interesting, that if you bought a little bit of gold at the time when these came out, which I did, you actually be beating SPY. And also, what I've noticed was during the last time we had a downturn in SPY, that we did actually better. So if I just take this out and do GLD and just do the last year to date, let's do 6 months. No, year to date. When we had a little downturn back in February, April, you can tell that gold was still going up. So having a little bit of gold, a little bit of diversity for you. So, hey, not too bad. How did Bitcoin do at that time? I wanted to just going to throw that out. Let's throw it on a graph. Well, you can see Bitcoin went down with the stock market. And I am definitely going to have to fix something. Oh, I'm logged out. That's why I need to log into my account. We'll get there. Anyway, any other questions or comments? I'm going to just quickly go through all the comments that are sitting here just to say hi to everybody. That is what I had to share on Leos. They're doing well. They're doing exactly what they do every single month. And why do I track it? Because I just want to make sure that they're doing the exact same thing every month for consistency. And they do. So I know, and you know, what you're going to get. You're going to get very reliable calls. And that is a good one. And I'm going to say hello to Mary, because Mary is a very nice person. Everybody should say hi to Mary because she's actually very nice. And I'm actually nice to her in the comments. Maybe not other people, but Mary gets special because she is extremely nice in her comments. Good morning, and Chip, good morning. Try to never miss your show. Oh, appreciate that. I don't do a whole lot of lives. I do try to do them a couple times a week. And I try to do the other ones in video editing. But the problem is the video editing just takes longer. And I said, hey, let's just go live. And if you don't know, I'm also on X today. I will be on Wolf Financial at noon and be on their channel. Just thought I'd throw that out. If you're watching me from Germany, thank you. Guten Tag. Guten Abend. Right. I had to looked at my watch, like I looked at my wrist, like I actually have a watch, right? Hi from Nebraska. Good. All right, Michigan. IBIT probably has better liquidity. So true. Do you feel it's too late to buy gold? That is that's probably a very good question. Not financial advice or any other advice. Gold just broke $4,000. A lot of the articles that I've been reading has gold possibly going up to $7,000. Don't know. I just know that they lost control. There's no really suppression of the gold price, and maybe it goes up. Now, I also know that the Fed might, and that's a might, and we're just speaking hypothetical. If the Fed takes their gold on their books, if they actually still hold it, I'm just going to put that caveat out. I'm not going to go down, do they hold it, not hold it, all right? But if they still hold it, and they have as much they say they have, if they revalue the gold today, and right now gold on their books is $42.22. I do believe it was last repriced on the books back in the 70s. If I'm not a history buff, but I think that is correct. Back in the 70s. If they revalue gold right now, today, it brings in $1 trillion to the price book, to the actual bottom line of the book. It doesn't really create new dollars, but we are spending way more money than we actually need to. Well, do we need to spend it? Don't know. But what happens when they do this? It creates an extra $1 trillion. Now, if they revalue it at $10,000, that's going to be like 2.5 trillion. So this year we didn't spend any extra money. It just magically showed up onto our books. So you just got to think, is the Fed going to do this or not do this? And personal opinion, do not look at the man that sits in the Oval Office. I won't even say his name. You need to follow Besant. Besant will tell you what we're going to do, and the other guy will just go out there and put it out on Twitter or Truth Social, whatever it uses. But follow Besant. Besant will tell you what they're going to end up doing. Just my personal opinion. I like Besant. He's very straightforward, and we'll see what they actually do with gold. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue to play it and get my 11, 12%. BTGD is interesting. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I really like BTGD. It's different. You get $1, you get exposure to 2, right? So it's interesting fund. A little bit off topic. Have you been looking through your videos? Where do you leave your uninvested cash? That's been all over the place right now. Right now, I have a few $1,000s sitting in cash. I just got paid from T-SPY, their highest distribution yet. And I'm just sitting there right now going, don't know. But I did put a lot of cash into Stretch, STRC from MicroStrategy. That's where I've been holding. It's about 10% just sitting there. Trouble of it is it's not a very steady payer. The other problem is also in the IRA, it's a T+1 trade. So if I want to buy a put, I have to have X amount of cash in there. But once I have my cash reserves, what I need them to be before I do my withdrawal, I tend to use Cashy or someplace like that, or I'll put it in the Stretch. Right now, business development companies are pretty much on a sale, so I might use some of that extra cash and put it into the business development companies. But that's just me. Max, FYI, email saying all funds but 12 target are going to weekly. I am going to be on with Yield Max at 12 o'clock. So go ahead and follow me on Twitter and we'll talk about that. And if that is true, and what I really like is why QQQ, if you didn't catch Rod with me, if it's going to go to a weekly, that changes everything. Because if why QQQ goes to weekly, and if I want to hedge in my account, just me personally, I can just rotate some funds to YQQQ at the right time because it's actually a true inverse, more or less, compared to some of the other funds. But we'll go there. But thanks, Frank. I will go ahead and look at that. Any ideas when the new NEOS funds are coming out? Yeah, it's about 75 days after they filed. The last time they filed and came out with a new fund, it was almost 90 days. Just to throw it out. Just because they can come out in 75, it was closer to 90. The next one on their schedule to come out is on Ether. But I'm really going to skip the Ether one probably and buy into some of the boosted funds when they come out. Tennessee, thank you. Thank you for watching. Mary, anytime. You're a nice person, actually. I really like Mary. Just never even met her. She's always nice in her comments. Now that you discovered the perfect hedge strategy, are you going to invest in dividend stocks? Now, that's a great question. I really contemplated on WPay, right? Round Hill weekly payer, WPay. If I was going to do that, I would sell it immediately as soon as my hedge says, hey, hedge, that would be the first one to go. But why not have a little bit of fun like that? 1.2% leveraged and watch it go up, but knowing that would be the first one I would sell. It's contemplating it, really contemplating it. And that is totally different options for everybody else. As long as you can do what you can do, you're good to go. Right? Why can you keep going to weekly? That is, that is perfect. I will double check. And do you invest in actual Bitcoin in your Fidelity account? No, I do not. I do not. You have to create a separate account to actually hold Bitcoin. I do hold HODL, actually. That's where I've been putting my money in Bitcoin here. Now, I actually do have a cold storage wallet, and I actually have it in cold storage, but I do not buy Bitcoin on the exchanges. I get all that Bitcoin from mining Bitcoin, just putting it into cold storage. So try to stay away from actually putting it onto exchanges unless I'm going to sell it. I think the last time I sold any cryptocurrencies is when my daughter was a senior in high school and I sold some Ethereum to pay for her last semester, and it paid for the complete semester. So, hey, that is the end of today's live stream. hopefully you got some value out of it, and I appreciate everybody showing up. So until next time, God bless.